Hello, beautiful souls of love and light, my dearest friends. This is Nenari, Princess of the Sea, coming to you with a new video. Hmm. Things seem to just ever keep shifting faster and faster and faster. Or at least that's the illusion anyway. I'm coming to you with a video to share with you about this shift of 2012 that we're in now, as we are officially now just under the 60-day mark of the quote unquote official date of winter solstice 2012. We're at what, 58 days now and counting, supposedly, of this official date, and what it all really means, what is occurring, about the arrival. Because I had some very interesting things happening in this last week or so. The last time I videoed, if I remember correctly, I was speaking about the four keys of vibrant health and how my local group here that I facilitate, that's our group, was getting together, the next evening, and also the same evening that I did that video, the most recent one. We were also gathering in another group locally that I spoke of, which was technically run or facilitated by another gentleman here in town. However, it is all our group. And it was interesting because when I was on my way walking to um, this gathering, I was listening to my beloved's music, which I, pretty much all the time, anytime I walk. Most people here in town usually see me with my little earbuds or my big headphones, if the weather's cold and I'm covering my ears. Um, and the only thing I have on my MP3 player is, my beloved's music. And so I was listening to Song of the Troubadour, the song, and interestingly enough, it was kind of, weird or bizarre, but then again, nothing is weird or bizarre in my world. Um, but to some of you, maybe, you would consider this bizarre. But I receive signs all the time from the universe, in different ways. And my beloved, and I telepathically send each other messages all the time. We're very in tune, into intuition. I feel him all the time, and I just, pick up on things, immediately. And, he the same. And so what was occurring is I got about three-quarters of the way to where the gathering was, at this person's house. What had come through as I was listening to the Song of the Troubadour was a letter that Chris had written to me back 4 years ago now. And for whatever reason, I was wondering why I was receiving this as a sign, why he was telepathically sending me this, and why the universe was giving me this. And the letter said this. It was during the time, actually, I should say, it was during the time that I was writing Song of the Princess. And the subject line was, I cannot wait, because I could not wait to send him, what was pouring through of Song of the Princess, which, is the marrying or union of our words together, as we've always done, since the beginning, as well as what was pouring through me. And so I couldn't wait. And so subject line says, I cannot wait. So I had sent him part of what was channeling through. And we had, a conversation about, things of that nature evolving around, us being the princess and the troubadour and whatnot. And so he had written this to me. Chris had said, "It is not up to me to know or create. I would hope that through it all you understand you are the real princess. An arrival will occur when you equally flow into loving each as you desire me. Namaste. See." And I thought it really odd in a sense, which nothing really ever appears odd to me. But this I found very strange as to why it was coming through then, and I had text messaged him that, and said, and had later written on to him later that night, saying, I don't quite know why I received this. It felt a bit strange to me. Why tonight of all nights? Well, it's interesting because, even back then, his intuition, he automatically knew. And I was just recently watching a video, and I'll post the link for it in the video description here, one of those TED videos that was talking about, this woman was talking about how we have our initial impulse. Impulse is another word for intuition or a following of our heart. And that when we first receive that initial intuition or following of our heart, that it is always accurate and that we're meant to be that and do that. And as I spoke of way back in one of the first videos I did several months ago about the twin soul relationship, of how Chris intuitively knew who I am. This letter here is just another example of intuitively, in that impulse, he has always known that I am the real princess, then the words of his arrival, saying that an arrival will occur equally as you flow into loving each as you desire me. That's something I've always been, throughout the whole thing, and how he had said, I hope that you would know through it all and understand that you are the real princess and that I am this. And I've always been being that, that's why I'm doing the videos that I do here, is because I am, equally flowing into loving you. I love all of you and help all of you, guide you all on the journey as I desire him. So as I'm desiring him and loving him, loving Chris, I am loving you, and vice versa. As I am loving you, I am loving him. So it's a full circle, right? Now, it was really interesting because this set off a series of events, this letter, and that's why I brought this up, that over the last, basically the last, 5, 6 days now, I've been receiving different signs from Source through various means about this term, the arrival, and also having to do with this shift of consciousness that we're in, and the whole what's happening in winter solstice, and what this is all about. And so what I want to share with you is the fact that just recently, in fact, 2 days ago, or actually a day ago, Chris had text messaged me and said that he had arrived. He wrote, I have arrived. I am. And I kind of twigged on that because along with the other signs, as I'm sure you know, Bill Ballard, hello Bill, sending you love, my dear friend there, just recently on Sunday had a beautiful gathering globally with all of us, bringing this energy of love and peace to the planet, as it was determined that supposedly Sunday, the 21st of October, was this portal date. And so Chris has messaged me about I have arrived and I am, and Bill, your video and gathering of all this. My response to this gathering was, that I'm always participating in stuff like this. And the reason is because we are to be that in each moment. It is not dependent upon a date. And so that's the one thing that I want to bring to you. We're all, curious or fascinated, or some of us may still be in fear or excited or what have you about this date, of winter solstice 2012. Now, I will say winter solstice is a special, day for Chris and I. Always has been. He's planning a party, a big gathering at our local rec center here, and I will be doing either another local gathering or some form of meditation within in some form or fashion, because I'm not really into the partying scene. However, what this is that we tend to have a conceived notion about dates that, okay, like for instance, we have coming up here leading up to winter solstice, we have a portal of 11/11 and 12/12, and we put these focuses on these dates. And in the human earthly experience, that's wonderful. But the truth is, in spiritual and who we are really, is the shift is ever evolving and is ever continuing, and it always is. It's not dependent upon a specific date. Now, if you remember, I did a series of articles last year, and I'm going to leave the links for them down below in the video description, in which I talk about, in one of those articles, about the I am, and about busting the illusions of this thing called ascension and what ascension really is. And it goes back to this, text message that I received from Chris just yesterday, in which he said, I have arrived, I am. And my response to him was a channel that just kind of came pouring through me in the moment, and I'm going to share with you what came pouring through, and then also tie it in with the whole I am aspect and the arrival and what's going on here, in this process. My response to him was this. You texted me, I have arrived, I am, to mean that you have arrived. In truth, there is no arrival. Any arrival coming is when you understand that there is no arrival. Arrival implies that there was or is some place to get to. There is no place, or nor no thing, or nowhere to get to, baby. The wise sages spoke of, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, and after enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. What that means is that even after you have arrived, as you say, you are still living a human experience. It is simply that you are seeing it through the eyes of the I am, or God, Source, the Master Artist, the Tao, Universal Mind, whatever you so choose to call it. In other words, for example, you will still have a romantic relationship, yet instead of that romantic relationship being based upon needs met, which is an earthly romantic relationship, it is about two whole, perfect, and complete beings who see themselves as whole, perfect, and complete already, not looking for someone else outside of them or something outside of them to make themselves happy or whole and complete, but that they already are whole, perfect, and complete simply as they are, and they're choosing to share their completeness with one another. That's a spiritual relationship. That's through seeing through the I am, in the arrived, if you will. It's a shift in consciousness, a shift in perspective. Or another example could be that you still have sex. However, it's more from a soulful tantric experience that occurs infrequently or every so often, rather than it being sex from a sense of egoic gratification or a compulsion that you are having to do something in order to get something. It's more about what you can give rather than what you can get, how you can give, be in service. Or another example would be that you don't go hang out at a bar or a pub anymore. You have gatherings at your place with spiritually like-hearted, like-mind, like-souled individuals, and have music that is spiritually orientated or fun, in that space, rather than being in what we would call from an earthly standpoint as lower chakra energy of a bar. The arrival is really that the journey and the destination are one. Nowhere is now here. And the I am presence already and always is, and within us. And within that, we still have a human experience. It's just that we see it in another way, in the infinite ways of experiencing it as God would experience it. And so I further wrote that within the after enlightenment of chop wood, carry water, you are simply choosing to have that experience rather than seeking outside of you something to make you happy or someone to make you happy. Arriving then, as you would call it, has to do more with the fact that you are choosing such an experience for the experience as a whole, perfect, complete being, not that you're looking for something outside of you to complete you, and that you're just choosing it for the experience. There are many who have a big misconception that once you have arrived, that you no longer have a relationship, like a romantic relationship, or you no longer have sex or other such things. And this was brought about also from another sign that I received. A dear friend locally here just did a radio show interview a few days back in which she was talking about this from a sexual standpoint. How, we are indoctrinated into the fact that somehow to be enlightened means that you no longer have romantic relationships or that you no longer have sexual, encounters. And I resonate in that same space that she does in the fact that what it is that to say that you are abstaining from such relationship, of romantic nature, or to abstain from having sexual encounters as a means of, because you're enlightened now, that you don't do these things, that it's supposedly not what the enlightened person does, is actually indoctrinational programming that's being brought by, as Michael Beckwith puts it, religiosity or religions, and spiritual traditions that attempt to invoke a sense of separation, and it puts you into a sense of being out of balance, basically, not in alignment with who we are. Because who we are as human beings having a spiritual experience, and as spiritual beings having a human experience, it is both and. We are to be balanced. And so many people have heard me, speak about this when I do my meditational sat songs and whatever. That's why the wisdom from Source has always been that if you choose to come here in a life as a priest or a monk or a nun, or someone of that nature, or if you come here as a philanderer or a player, or gigolo as we call it, those are one extreme or the other. And so you will come back here for another life if you choose that as your experience, because you have not yet come to balance. You are free from being in balance. To be in balance is to have, as I said earlier, to have that sexual relationship or that romantic relationship. Yet it's not having sex from an egoic perspective of gratification of your ego, or to somehow make you feel better, or to give you a high. That's the earthly perspective. That's not coming from an enlightened space. When you're coming from an enlightened space, it's balance, and it's a tantric flow and an energetic flow in which body, mind, soul, spirit, and heart, you are connecting in a loving way in making love and in having a sacred path relationship. And if you've noticed all of my videos here about Chris's and my journey, and this twin soul relationship, and the help for light workers, and my meditational satsangs, all of it evolves around that balance and that love. And so that is where we're being asked to be, is be within this balance. Now, it's the same thing when it comes to this I am presence of arriving, and also what's going on here in 2012. If you have noticed, and I'm sure there are many of you who have, who are going to be watching this video, we have had many people who have brought channels out there. I think Greg Giles is one of them. Oh gosh, there's so many people that I could think of right now who have put channels out there that on this day, or around this day, something is supposed to happen. And even this whole thing about 2012, the winter solstice, December 21st, that some major thing is going to happen. Now, we will be in the galactic center of the universe, yes. There is an alignment going on with our planets and our galaxy, our solar system, and all of that. Yes. Okay. There is the end, supposedly, of the Mayan calendar and all of that. But does it really mean that we are going to see something major happen? If you've noticed on all of these key dates, very little has happened. Now, There has been some synchronicities, yes. A couple of dates that I can remember, I think back in March earlier this year, or perhaps it was March last year, someone had made a prediction out there that said, there was going to be something major happening on this date in March, and we had the big earthquake, I think it was in Japan or something like that, that occurred. Okay, yes, certainly those things are true, accurate, and they do happen. But does that necessarily mean that it will always happen? No. Perfect example of this, and I speak about this in my I Am series of articles that I wrote last year, is the whole Y2K phenomenon. What did we all go through? We thought the world was going to end and our computers were all going to blow up and all of this stuff was going to happen because, of the Y2K thing. And what really happened? Nothing. Okay, winter solstice is just going to be another solstice. Galactic center of the alignment and planets and all that, yeah, great. End of the Mayan calendar, wonderful. But it's an ever-evolving shift of consciousness. And we were told back in July that, this year that, there were supposed to be certain things happen. The days in July came and went and nothing happened. Why? And why does our consciousness go through this? There's a couple of reasons. The theory is that if we all get together in group consciousness and focus on something like this, that like this past weekend on Sunday when Bill Ballard had his concentration of love, being sent to the earth and seeing the earth, beautiful and, all of this and the shift in consciousness happening now and all of this. We in our egoic consciousness seem to feel that if we focus on a specific date, that will somehow, in a group consciousness effort, propel everybody into this shifting consciousness. Now, there is some truth to that because obviously when we get together and we heighten our consciousness together, it does have a vast change. There's been, many things. Greg Braden's done work on this, HeartMath, the Institute's done work on this, so there's validity to it, indeed. However, the other part of that is that the egoic consciousness wants to have this change happen and happen now and in an understanding or a lack of understanding, for lack of a better word, that it is already now. We are in the process of it. And that this shift that we're in is really about a shift in consciousness within first. That's why you see so many people who have lost their jobs, who, are in an emotional upheaval, who are, having relationships shift out of their lives, new relationships coming in, is because they're shifting in their consciousness within. And then their outer world changes, and then the outer world itself changes. Okay, so that we all coming into this space at some point, but it's something that's ever evolving. It's not on a specific date. And the fact that we've had many dates come and go, our egoic consciousness has to go through that process of seeing many dates come and go and things not happening. Like, I've heard many things about, there's supposed to be all these mass arrests for the cabal and all this stuff happening. Well, where is it? Okay, has it really happened? Yeah, to a certain extent, there have been some arrests, there have been some things that have happened, but in this grand global scan, this big, consciousness that we're all talking about, no. Why? Because it's something that is an ever-evolving process. It's not going to be a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am thing. Okay? And we, as an egoic consciousness, are to go through these dates passing and go through this process over and over and over again until we come to understand and transcend beyond that and understand that it is not dependent upon a date. Will the global economy eventually collapse and transform itself into something new or some things new? Yes, because it was built upon something that was never meant to be sustainable and thriving to begin with. Will that happen by winter solstice 2012? No. Why? Because it's an ever-evolving process. It's going to take earthly time. Our consciousness is to be ready for it. So in groups, we come together and say, yes, we envision. And my beloved has a song called There's a World. I helped inspire him to write that because he wrote a letter to me and said, hey, tell me what your vision is for There's a World, and then I will, probably put some of that into the song. And pretty much most of what I wrote to him in a channel of what my vision was for There's a World is in that song. Okay, so I helped to inspire him, and we as a collective consciousness are meant to be in that space of being love now, and be in that space of there's a world that is free, and free energy and everything else. But is it all going to happen on winter solstice 2012 or at some 1111 portal or a 1212 portal? No, those are just dates. Okay, they are dates of possibilities that it could happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will happen just on that date and that date alone. It's kind of like the Christmas phenomenon. Okay, for any of those of you who know me, know that I beloved Christmas. Okay, I beloved Santa. But I do not love Santa for its indoctrination. I love Santa for what Santa represents, which is love, which is hope, which is the magic of the holiday season. Do you see, I carry that holiday season with me every moment, every day, just like Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving here a couple of weeks ago. To me, every day, every moment is a Thanksgiving. Yeah, on that day you have turkey. Okay, yeah, you gather with loved ones, but every day you can gather with loved ones. Every moment you can celebrate as a gift of Thanksgiving. Every moment I celebrate as a gift of Christmas, and I keep a little bit of Christmas in my room and in my life with me all the time. I have a collection of Santas that, my children have right now. And, I love the spirit of Christmas, and I keep it with me all year round. Anyone who knows me locally, whenever they're out with me, most of the time I'm like going, oh my God, I love our home. Just see how beautiful it is out here today. To me, it never gets old. And that's the space that we're meant to be in. That's the arriving, if you want to call it an arrival. Arrival means that, there is nowhere to get to. But arrival is also an understanding that you are the I am. And the I am presence is with you and within you always. And so just like Christmas, shoot, we have Christmas in July. I have Christmas every day. Okay? It's in my heart. It's in my soul. It's the music of my soul. It's the music of my heart. And my heart is ever singing. I mean, I listen to Christmas music all year round. Okay, my favorite is Mannheim Steamroller, in case anyone wants to know. But, I love Mannheim Steamroller's music. Now, there is an aspect of the arrival that we are being asked to embrace in transcending that about dates and shifting into this consciousness of it's right here, right now. Love is right here, right now. Peace is right here and right now. Not as some fantasy. It's as John Lennon said, in his song Imagine, there's a world by my beloved Chris. Being in that space now and understanding that it is now and also an ever evolving process. That's the I am. That's the arrival. And in that, I say to you, I am love. You. You are love. And you are loved. I love you. Espava.